Hi everybody, welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and this is me, Oberon, with my Friday show, The Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. And it's a reading about relationships or emotional matters, and so I seek to do this for each of the signs of the zodiac. I'm using the deck, the Modern Love Tarot, which is a beautiful deck I've been using for quite a while. It's very gender fluid and very open to all interpretations of love. We're going to start off with a card for the collective from the Isis Tarot. And I used to use this for the same purpose back in the original incarnation of my emotional exchanges. So I'm just going to go ahead and randomly pull a card and give us that reading for the collective. A couple more little shuffles. All right. Nice. And I have pulled Cornucopia. Where was that? Number 36. So I think that's the last one. And the Isis Tarot is not really a tarot and doesn't largely concern itself with Isis, although I believe there is a card called Isis, but it's more like an oracle deck. So I'll give you that, and I still haven't found it. Oh, it was on the very last page. Okay, Cornucopia, a state of mind. Spiritual wealth and healthy look at life. Fertile ideas, eloquence, somebody who might grow into a celebrity. Born for happiness, creative, an artist, generous. Now that describes the state of mind, but as an oracle, as a card for the collective, the querent, or us, all of us here, is either well known himself or a celebrity crosses their path. A fortunate occurrence. Wealth. A lucky period for an artist. A radiant future is in store for you. All right, we can deal with that, I suppose. So that's our card for the collective. Take it either way, the state of mind or the actual oracle. And I think Mr. O needs a new pair of glasses because, gosh, that writing was awfully tiny. But we're going to move on now and do our readings for the zodiac, starting, of course, with Aries. And so I'm going to pull two cards from the top and the bottom of the deck for each sign. So the first card is the emotional opportunity or challenge, and the bottom card is the energy or action required. The bottom card is the energy or action required. So let's start off with Aries then. And of course, it occurs to us here that these readings are good for the sun, moon, or rising signs. So you can listen to any of those for any sign for those insights into, you know, if your sun moon, or rising is one of those ones. All right, I'm sure I explained that really well there. You'll have to forgive Mr. O. It's been an opportunity and challenging for the last week or so. All right. Aries, sun, moon, or rising. What is your opportunity or challenge? And emotionally speaking, it's the Three of Wands is the opportunity or challenge. This could be saying that there's some way for a relationship or an emotional matter or situation to really move ahead in its plans or in its course, whatever that course may be. Maybe you've already outlined the course for it. So this could be saying that if it's a new relationship, that maybe something is really going to be able to enhance that and move it forward, that it sort of has the goals in mind and stuff like that. If it's an existing relationship, there could be the sense of something else happening that is maybe greater, a new project or situation within the relationship, like maybe you're moving to a new domicile of some sort, or maybe there's a challenge maybe that involves a coupling to live apart due to some circumstance because there's a plan. At any rate, what then is the action required? From the bottom of the deck, and it's the Two of Pentacles. I'll just throw that up there too. And I think then that the action required is stability, is the ability to cope with the variations or the busyness of it all. And so if the first card says there's an opportunity to really move things ahead and create plans and move towards, goals, that's work. And so the action required is, do you have that ability to keep that balanced? I leave that for you, Aries. I know what my Aries would say. So we're going to move on to Taurus now, sun, moon, or rising. And Taurus is an earth sign. So Taurus, what is or are the opportunity or challenges that may come to you? Whoops, it's the Page of Cups. So there is something that sort of is a message or a new idea coming forth. And the Page of Cups would be talking about the idea of enjoying or understanding or exploring the mysteries of life in a way, maybe of emotional life, maybe of understanding how to see yourself apart from yourself in the way that makes you be able to be empathic with somebody, presumably in a relationship, or your relationship with life, perhaps. So what is the challenge to all of this? And note that, in a sense that some of the core cards, like the Page, in a sense, are not very specific about things. And that could be just due to my own sense of interpretation on it. I think Banshee has investigated the nuances and ideas behind core cards a lot more than I have, and had a wonderful workshop recently at Convocation in our state. Anyways, what is that action required then? And we have the Hierophant. It looks like Cleopatra or Nefertiti or something like that, but that's the Hierophant. The action required is once again a sense of foundation, like in the first card, but maybe it's also saying there's an orderly process here. There's also the idea of maybe supporting and modeling good behavior as befits understanding order, law, tradition, culture, history, things like that. And so the action required is maybe to understand all of that other stuff about this and to maybe adhere to the certain sense of a protocol, laws if you want to call it that, when it comes to all this, that maybe there is a plan for moving ahead in this more, abstract kind of way that the Page of Cups indicates. I mean, maybe this is talking about Taurus, sort of being attracted to somebody who's very, metaphysical and deep on themselves too. I mean, we are talking about the emotional matters. All right then, so now we are going to move on to Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And as mentioned, Gemini is an air sign, just like Aries was a fire sign and Taurus was an earth sign. Gemini, what are the challenges or opportunities this week for you? It's the reverse King of Cups. You have an opportunity right now maybe to understand that somebody needs you right now. They need your support emotionally. They need you to be kind to them. This could be an abstract issue that maybe this is talking about you embracing maybe a more nuanced understanding of an emotional matter to you. There may be something going on that really you need to be kinder about. You need to possibly mentor others to a better level of behavior or benevolence. Somebody who, like I said before, maybe needs you to assist them or help them in some matter. It could be emotional, but it could also be, a more practical matter too. So what is the action required, Gemini? Oh, it's death reversed. And I might want to say that the action required is to realize that there's something important here, and that if you don't get involved with it, and maybe it's a relationship in your life, something's going to die and rot here, and something may never, ever have a chance of being the same again. And so the action required is to prevent that from happening, to realize that you need to grow and change rather than rot and mold here, Geminis. So I'm going to move on now to Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, a water sign. What's going on for you? What are the challenges and opportunities, the actions or energies required for you this week? Challenges or opportunities. And you have a page too, but you have the upright Page of Swords. So the upright Page of Swords, from an emotional kind of thing about relationships, this may be saying your opportunity or challenge is to maybe play a sort of peacemaker, but maybe to also clarify and understand people's intentions as may regard you, emotionally speaking, or in a relationship. There may be some sort of sense of a diplomacy, of walking a graceful line with persons, either in a relationship or in a situation of friends maybe, or something like that. So what is that challenge? Cancer. And it's the Empress reversed. And the challenge may be that you feel this is going to be hard for you because there's nothing you can really work with here. There's nothing you can create. Maybe people feel closed to your ideas, your suggestions for, being creative or being productive. So the action required is to maybe understand what their vibe level is, what the situation's about, and understanding also maybe that you may not be able to play as forceful or assertive or dominant of a role as you might want. And I'm not sure if this is really qualifying as an emotional matter, but it seems like maybe it is something you're still going to try to be graceful about, or that you should be. So I'm going to leave it with that. Cancer. And now we are moving on to Leo. Our next fire sign, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Leo. I was a little entranced by my computer over there. All right, so Leo, what is the opportunity or challenge that you face this week? And it's another page. How interesting. But we don't have 12 pages. We'll have to recycle some of these guys. It's the Page of Pentacles. It's upright. So the Page of Pentacles, get a little light there. Your opportunity or challenge is to realize that maybe this is a time for you to explore some inner workings, and not exploring maybe people relationships so much, but maybe what you love, what you're emotionally vibing to, is a sense of understanding education, understanding practical matters. So maybe you're involved in situations around your home, or around foundational work, like maybe where you work or what you do for a living. This may have less to do with relationships this week. This may be about your love for exploring and growing that way. But what is the action required? And it's the reversed Chariot card. And so that's easy to put into context here. It may be that you are really obliged in certain ways to follow through with certain endeavors. And maybe the Chariot reversed is saying it's time for you to take a time out, time for you to pull the reins, and maybe take time for yourself, that you can't get to the Page of Pentacles without being a little bit more self-oriented. And so you might have to clear your schedule book. I'm thinking this is saying, Leo, maybe, you're normally pretty magnanimous, but maybe this is what you're feeling is like you want to kind of clam up a little bit and take care of some inner stuff perhaps, or even just home life. And to do that, you need to maybe say no a little bit. So I'm going to leave it with that for you, Leos. Don't hurt too many feelings if you can help it. And we will now move on to Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Virgo is an earth sign. We're in our second quadrant of the elemental signs. We're about halfway through this reading. So, Virgo, what is the opportunity or challenge for you? And no page here. It's the Six of Swords upright. The opportunity or challenge, Virgo, may be for you to realize that you need to move on with your life. You need to move away from the troubled waters. You know, you need to take the bridge over the troubled waters. You need to move to something that feels better for you, that feels like there's a dawn coming and that the waters are calm and maybe even inviting. So it's a bad relationship or it's a bad emotional situation that you want to get away from. What is the action required? And it's the full reverse. And I don't know, Virgo, this could be saying, that a lot of times, we're all driven by what our basic natures are. And a lot of times Virgo gets a rap for sort of doing everything by the book in very prescribed kind of manner. But this is saying you have to maybe be unexpected, or you have to expect the unexpected. Either way, the action required may involve something out of the box kind of thinking, one way or the other, and that you can move to this place theoretically, physically, romantically, abstractly, but you have to be willing to maybe shake it up a little bit and to expect, some consequences that will have caveats one way or the other, especially emotionally. So that's what I have for Virgo. And I'm going to move on now to Libra. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Libra is an air sign. I've been told that Libra is the only sign in the entire zodiac that is not represented by a living or animated life form. It's represented by a metal scales, and that to some degree, one of the main traits of Libras is that they kind of stand apart. Emotionally speaking, they can look at things a little bit more less emotionally. They can look at things more clinically in a way. And with some Libras, I know it makes sense. I've known a couple of Libras who were lawyers or were studying law. So who knows, right? Anyways, Libra, what are your challenges or opportunities this week? And it's the Four of Wands. You have the opportunity to bring it home. You have the opportunity to have a celebration that maybe befits what you are going through or what you are a part of. The celebration may be about, joining with family or specific friends or romantic partners or a circle community and really enjoying what you feel about this time of year, this season. It's graduation time for many people, things like that. Wedding season's coming up. So what is the challenge? What is the action required? I'm sorry. What is the action required? And it's the Queen of Cups. So clearly the action required is saying that a lot of this is strong emotional stuff for you for various reasons. I mean, maybe, children are making plans to move away to college or to move away to be married, or any number of other situations where maybe there's a sense of where you have to remain emotionally calm and centered and grounded. You can immerse yourself in your sense of what the emotions mean to you, but you want to stay grounded in that. And so whatever you're dealing with implied by the first card, the celebration may also mark an end of a phase with the beginning of a new phase. If there's any anxiety, emotionally speaking, you need to put yourself in a place where you feel you can be balanced and grounded from it. So that's what I have for Libra. And I'm going to move on now to Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. Scorpio, the water sign. Scorpio, what is your opportunity or challenge? And it's the reverse King of Wands. As oddly as it seems, Scorpio, you may be feeling like somebody or some situation makes you more bold and brave or charismatic than you want to deal with now, that maybe you feel you're being thrust into a limelight that you don't really want right now. It's not that you don't want to be popular or famous or charming to people, but maybe the situation means something at a personal level. Maybe it's about your relationship with other people, and you're just not so sure you're exactly ready to delineate that in any form. So I know that sounds a little vague. Maybe it could probably apply to anything, really. But what is the action required from you at this point then? Be the devil inside. Every single woman, as a famous song says. So the devil here is really maybe about understanding our limitations. Maybe, you know, in the first card, if there is this feeling that you can't do this thing or that you're not this person to be this proponent, maybe understanding that and working with that limitation is a good thing. Maybe you just need to dress up somebody else to be that person. I mean, this is more likely than not talking about things that have involvement with other people, or at least one other person. So it kind of seems like you're only going to let yourself be as oppressed or feeling indebted or sucker punched or somehow emotionally grafted to somebody else's desires as you let yourself be. And so this card could also be saying that maybe you don't feel you can challenge even that situation where you feel you have codependency. That sounds very Scorpio in a way. So as a Scorpio, I hope you can work that out. And we will move on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And Sagittarius, the fire sign. What is your opportunity or challenge, Sagittarians? And it's the reversed Five of Cups. Your challenge maybe is to understand that what you're going through has happened before, and that maybe these situations are being repeated for a reason. It may be that there's actually a situation emotionally from your past or significantly alike to something in your past that you still have to face and understand. It could be a good thing. It could be that maybe somebody who meant something to you is returning to your life for some reason. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean you fished apart. Maybe there was just a move, temporary or otherwise. But at any rate, what is the action required for this? And it's the Magician reversed. And the action required is to not lose your will in all this, not lose your sense of being able to be in charge of the situation and have control. And so if the person or the situation that may be coming back to you did represent a situation where there was inequalities or distinguishments in your relationship, it may have been about the control you had, or may have been how you were able to be assertive enough or be creative enough to make the relationship really work. And so that's what you have to consider, or maybe that is even in fact the lesson of the past that you still need to embrace. So good luck, Sagittarians. And now we are on to Capricorn. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Capricorn, the Earth sign. We are almost through this reading. There's only 2 signs left. So Capricorns, what are your challenges or opportunities? It's the Chariot reversed. There may be a relationship where you just don't feel you can really adequately move towards it. You don't seem to either believe you can pull it together from a morale point of view, like you don't feel you're getting the signals, or you don't feel brave enough or strong enough to try to move in this direction. Blah, 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 all those kind of Chariot reverse things. This is maybe, you know, a sense of esteem too, because when you think about it, the energy of the Chariot is like kind of larger than life. And so maybe when it's reversed, we might be dealing with our esteem issues in terms of feeling that confidence. So what is the action required? Hopefully I can make a sense of this. It's the Star reversed. And I think the action requires to realize that if that is, in fact, your routine of programming, if that's how you roll, if that's really the kind of person you are, you don't have to feel that things are hopeless, that maybe this is just something you need to understand more about yourself, and realizing that your destiny may just take a different route, and that you may have to learn how to turn what seems to be disadvantages into advantages, especially when it comes to romantic matters. And I know a lot of times the typical Capricorn is a very direct kind of business protocol mentality, but it could be saying that, you know, when we are challenged in certain emotional areas, we don't always feel that skill set is available to us. And so this could just be saying too with the Star that, you know, that doesn't mean everything is hopeless with that. You might just need to learn new skills or techniques when you are dealing with more emotional situations. That being, you know, the plundering Chariot gladiator may work in a boardroom or in a business, but it may not work in a relationship. That's what I have for you Capricorns. And I know too many Capricorns that, you know, a lot of times do feel that, you know, force of will always wins the day. A lot of us are like that too. I have enough Capricorn in my own chart to understand that. So I'm not picking on Capricorns. But sometimes, you know, we have to understand that there is a softer approach that can actually help us. And I seem to have gone a little bit off kilter. That's better. But I appreciate any and all feedback on my reading itself or the display of cameras, etc. You know, I'm always interested in whether or not you like how we make this all look. So we have moved on to Aquarius then. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Aquarius, an air sign. Let's see what you got in terms of your challenges, your opportunities. And it's the King of Swords reversed. If there's a question of relationship issues where judgments or decisions have to be made, you may feel you just don't really know enough to make a capable decision. A lot of times the swords also have ideas about knowledge and clarity of vision. And the king is kind of like a surrogate or a minor avatar of justice. And so there's always going to be a sense that kings have to make decisions. And sometimes people like them, sometimes they don't. But you do also have to understand that it's garbage in, garbage out, that you can only make a good decision, especially if it's romantically or about people's emotional lives, based on the actual intelligence, emotional or otherwise, that you actually do have. So what are the actions or energies required? And it's another king. And fittingly or not, it's the reversed King of Cups. And so the action required is probably telling us that is the King of Cups, right? Nope, I'm sorry. It's the Knight of Cups. So that makes it a little different here. But the action required is to not just feel you can go in there and emotionally charge up a situation and try to create consternation, that you may not be able to use those kind of knightly skills of movement and sort of rushing in to take charge of a situation or to try to commandeer it. It's not going to work for you in the situation. Emotionally, you will probably hurt more people or somebody's feelings, if not your own, in the long run. So I don't know that I have any better advice for you than that. Aquarius, good luck. It's kind of interesting how that came out. And so at last then we are on Pisces. Pisces is a water sign and is also this reading. If you have Pisces as sun, moon, or rising, you can refer to this energy too. What are the Pisces challenges or opportunities? It's the Ten of Wands. Emotionally, you are loaded a lot, Pisces. Well, that just sounds typical Pisces. There's so much that you're holding on, so much you feel obliged to. You may have issues with parents or older people you have a domain with, or you may have issues with children you have care for, or all of that in between that, and you just sort of feel you almost have too much to bear. That's what emotionally is your challenge, is figuring out what can you possibly do with all the emotional tension and racking around you, whether it involves other people or just other situations of even sorts. You know, I went to the obvious go-to, but I mean, for anybody, it could be something else, right? So what is the energy or action required? Ta-da! It's temperance. Yeah, everything's just wonderful if you just say, I'll chill, I'll just relax with this. But there is a truth here in a way that, you know, each of us, emotionally speaking, or in most walks of life, we can only do what we can do. And at some point, there is a point where you may have to say, at least to yourself, this is service without an option. You get what I can give you. You do not get to demand what I can give you. It may be out of the scope of what I can give you, emotionally speaking, or with anything. Service without an option. And guess what? A Pisces told me that many, many years ago, because they were in charge of me and I had to bring them a question about how to handle a person who wouldn't take no for an answer. It's a long story. I'm not going to get there, but that was the basic response, is that in all ways, you know, people have to understand that sometimes you can only get what is actually there to be offered. You don't get to demand everything. I'm sorry, you don't. That's just me, Scorpionic me, saying that. But anyways, that is the emotional exchanges for the week. I'm going to take a moment to tell us about our shows for the week. Of course, as you know, tomorrow will be the Happy Hour. Happy Hour, our most famous show. Well, not really, but you get the idea. And it will be on at 10 a.m. Mr. O has to go to work in the early afternoon, so it's only going to be our typical time spot of 10 o'clock and get it and get done. Later on, Sunday, actually at the same time, 10 o'clock a.m., will be Banshee's Material Matters. We're live in the chat room for the pre-recorded show, and she does financially, economically, success keys-wise, what I do for the emotional lives. But she does it a lot better. She does 3 cards, and it's really good information. I mean, it even goes beyond the idea of finances, so much as just really the material matters of your life. All right, so later on Sunday, we are back for our live stream, our regular live stream at 2 to 4 p.m. We will answer, various questions, and we can pretty much take about 20 people in that 2-hour slot. So it fills up quickly. Be there or be denied. Couldn't do it without our wonderful Violet Lotus, the moderator. And then next week, we'll see you again on Wednesday for my show over on Goth Tarot. And I give you kind of like the more broody side of your emotional life with tarot. All right, everybody, so that's it. I hope you got something out of this. I want y'all to take care, and we will see you again. Take care.